A very good evening to everybody. My name is Mor Odawa, and welcome to the show. Remember, of course, today is the 59th Africa Liberation Day, and I am super excited to be one of your hosts today alongside Mary Karibuni Sana. That is how we say welcome in Swahili here in Kenya. So, just to start off to the show, I'd like to give a brief background on what ALD is, basically Africa Liberation Day. I believe you all know ALD was formerly known as Africa Freedom Day, but was later changed to African Liberation Day. It was founded in the year 1958 by Kwame Nkrumah when he convened the first conference of independent African states that attracted African leaders and political activists from the various African countries in Ghana, 15th April 1958. Government representatives from 8 independent African states attended the conference, and this was the first Pan African conference in the continent. The purpose for this day was to annually mark the liberation movement's progress and to symbolize the determination of Africans to free themselves from foreign domination and exploitation. I'll be giving basic pointers of the Africa Liberation Day as we proceed. It's just important, however, for you to remember I said that formerly it was known as African Freedom Day, but it was later changed to African Liberation Day, and it was founded by none other than Kwame Nkrumah in the year 1958. Welcome to the show. Like I said, my name is Moro Dawa, and I will be hosting alongside Mary, who will be joining us later. Without further ado, I believe it is important to know the guests who will be joining us today in the show. We have the guest speaker, Rhodesia Cooper. She will be joining us in the show shortly. We also have keynote speaker, Prof. Mamo Muchie, and we also have Mr. Benjamin Ani Agre. Very beautiful guest. I cannot wait to hear what is in store for us. We have a lot to learn and engaging with our amazing guest. My name is Morodawa, and welcome to the show. So before I give a brief background on who our guests are, I'll also continue in giving a brief description. Oh, we have our first guest has joined us. I'll give this opportunity to let our guest introduce himself to us. Welcome, sir. Hello, sir. Can you hear me? Hello. I think my guest is not able to hear me yet, but I am hoping the issue will be corrected in no time. So as we still continue waiting for the rest of the guests to join us, I will still continue to give background information of the Africa Liberation Day. So ALD is observed around the world in countries like Kenya, Tanzania, Spain, United Kingdom, and the United States. The events include formal gatherings with panel discussions, special university lectures, speeches by political and social leaders, etc. Africa Liberation Day is interfederal holiday in most countries, even though observed, but in Ghana, May 25th is a public holiday. And I think from the background information that I gave you in the beginning of this show, I told you the founder of ALD, which is the Africa Liberation Day, is Kwame Nkrumah. And when you hear that name, you associate him to Ghana. This brings us to the fact that every 25th of May in Ghana is considered a public holiday in honor of the ALD. So aside from that, many organizations use an outline of the map of Africa or the shape of Africa as a feature to symbolize the day. Pan-African colors, which are widely used for the day, come in different sets of three colors: green, gold, and red, which are used in the flag of Ghana, and also red, black, green, adopted by the American-based Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. I believe right now, if you had no idea, if you're watching us and you didn't have any basic idea of what Africa Liberation Day is about, I believe I have put you to speed with just a few things that you would keep in mind concerning this. Like I said, I will be hosting alongside my co-host, Miss Mary, who is soon joining us in a bit. And of course, our guests are also preparing to join our live. We have a lot in store for you in this 1 hour. Stay tuned with us. Okay. So, the final briefing before we get right into the show. The purpose for this day was to annually mark the liberation movement's progress and to symbolize the determination of Africans to free themselves from foreign domination and exploitation. I believe Africa, it has been a journey. It has been a long journey since 1963 when Africa finally got its liberation, its independence, its freedom, and we continue to enjoy this. I can see my co-host Mary is back on live with us. I leave the opportunity for her to introduce herself to you. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mar. Good evening, if you can hear me. I hope. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. Good evening. My name is Otieno Mary Anyango, and we are very excited to be hosting the show today. Miss Moore and I are going to be hosting the show for African liberation, and it is that day of every May 25th May of every year, where we celebrate the African liberation. And of course, this event for the very first time, being commemorated on the 25th of May 1963.
I'm sorry, I think
And
my
since
co-host is having network issues. It's fine as she sorts that out. We'll get right into our guest. I can see Madam
then
Rhodesia
every year,
Cooper has joined. I'm sorry, Mary, you could please sort your network issues and join us later. Madam Rhodesia Cooper, you look lovely. And the first thing I have noticed immediately you joined is your hair. My hair, my crown. Natural hair liberation. Wow, karibu sana. Welcome. I'm sorry, madam, we cannot hear you.
Thank you. Hi, everyone. Warm celebration for African Liberation Day. My name is Rhodesia Cooper. I'm a writer and natural hair advocate, and I am based in Orlando, Florida.
Wow, amazing. Welcome to the show. Madam, quick question on the African Liberation Day. What comes into your mind with the mention of the African Liberation Day?
African Liberation Day for me comes to mind just sort of unlearning the remnants of colonialism and imperialism, whether that's by legislation, policy, and also doing the work ourselves to unlearn whatever cultural messages have been instilled in us through colonialism. So just sort of liberating people, liberating the African identity, and promoting unity for everyone throughout the African diaspora.
Okay. My hair, my liberation. Quick question. How did you come up with that?
Yes. So a little over 10 years ago, the night before my high school graduation, um, this has come through a journey of me kind of looking at cultural messages and societal norms, especially in the Western world in America, and realizing that my hair didn't fit the beauty standards that were being sold to me or shown to me through different media channels and cultural and even within the African American community, certain dialogues that we use. There's a debate between good hair and bad hair, and you straighten your hair for important occasions, and you go to the beauty supply store and all of the hair is straight. Like none of that hair looks like mine. So the night before my high school graduation, I completely just sat in front of a floor length mirror. I shaved my hair off. and I wanted to liberate myself from straightening my hair, from wearing wigs. I just wanted to enter into my adulthood and live my life as a woman who was an African woman, right? Like I'm American culturally, but my blood is still African, and I wanted to live my life as that. So my hair, my crown is a celebration of natural hair, acceptance, and rejecting beauty standards that exclude me.
Wow, this is very, very impressive. How long have you been in this journey of your natural hair, your liberation? And have you impacted other people to join you in this, high spirit and this high confidence, especially as you can see, I'm wearing a wig. The reason I'm actually putting on my wig is because my natural hair is not really pretty, you see. But coming from you, your natural hair, your liberation, I'm inspired. So I'd like to hear a bit about that.
Yeah, well, there's definitely no judgment for anyone who does choose to, for Black women or anyone who chooses to wear wigs or straighten their hair. I also know that a lot of us do that, and I also used to wear wigs before.
Yeah.
A lot of us do that, either it's through insecurity or wanting to be accepted, wanted to kind of reach the goalpost of European beauty standards, which is passed down to African people through colonialism and imperialism.
Mm-hmm,
So with that, and also, you know, natural hair can also be a barrier to our careers. It can
mm-hmm,
prevent us from, pursuing our education or getting
mm-hmm,
hired at certain places. So
mm-hmm,
those are things that I considered when I did make this journey. And so I've been natural since 2009. So it's been 13
mm-hmm,
years. And
mm-hmm,
I have had dreadlocks since 2016, so about 6 years. And
mm-hmm,
so that was just a decision that I made because I really I'm a rebellious person by nature, and I really wanted to reject that European
mm-hmm,
beauty standard, and I really wanted to live in my truth, and I didn't want to ask permission to exist or assimilate. So natural hair is kind of like a freeing experience. It's kind of like, this is who I am. This is how God
mm-hmm,
made me. This is how I'm going to present myself to the world. And the people who were meant to be in my space will be in my space. And the people who reject that, they don't need to be in my space. That's kind of how I look at it.
Wow, that's beautiful. So I'll give a brief bio to our viewers on you. So Madam Rhodesia is a writer, a critical thinker, and a natural hair advocate, clearly from the basic introduction she has for us so far. She's passionate about living unsocialized life and holds a critical lens to society's unspoken rules. As you heard, she likes to stand out. She likes to just, be herself. Rhodesia uses her passion to challenge systems, question the status quo, and disrupt social norms. Oh, wow. She helps others unlearn assimilation, anti blackness, group thinking, and so much more. Quick question. How long has this journey been, the natural hair journey for you? How long? Since you were
So it's
teenage, your
been,
youth?
yeah, it's been 13 years. So it's been since I was 19 years old, since
Mhm,
high school, the night before my high school graduation. And one of the most defining moments that kind of kept me on my journey, because I can't say I didn't have um, there weren't times where okay, I should just get a perm, or okay, I should just straighten my hair. Maybe my life would be
mhm,
easier if I got a wig. But I was working at this organization, and I was a part of the African American um, employee resource group. And I was
mhm,
just sort of looking around, and this group was entirely made of African American women, and we were all wearing wigs. And I was just like, this is very weird. This is very strange. And
mhm,
this really shows that although physical slavery, although human trafficking still exists, but the chattel slavery has ended, Jim Crow has ended, like different legislative oppression has ended throughout Africa,
mhm,
Europe, America, throughout the African diaspora. However, mentally, we're still enslaved to these social norms that that white supremacy has a vested interest in distorting our image, I believe. And so when we sort of take our own image and we own it and we
Mm-hmm.
celebrate ourselves, we're not really susceptible to white supremacy or assimilation or just sort of contorting ourselves to sort of fit into these things that were never designed for us. So it's allowed us to live freely, and it's allowed me to live freely, and it's allowed me to meet people who celebrate me for who I am and not for who I assimilate myself or present myself as.
Okay, brilliant. Do you think the social standards that are generally set to the society, do you think they kind of lock us into unleashing our potential, or rather into maximizing who we could actually be? Because it's like we are caged, or we tend to like try fit in. What do you think about that?
I do. I do. And
Mm-hmm.
I think that one of the major, I don't remember the full quote, but by Dr. John Henrik Clarke, he
Mm-hmm.
has a quote that says, I knew from a young age that the image of my people had been distorted. And I
Mm-hmm.
think our image, when we watch TV, when we listen to the radio, when we read stories, when we read work policies or legislation, and that legislation or policies or stories purposefully take our image and they distort it, and they say, okay, well, you can't, send your kid to the school if they have dreadlocks. You can't work at this company if you have
Mm-hmm.
natural hair, or you can't, all of these barriers just for your natural hair. So I do think that social norms play a role in what's accepted. And I also think within the Black community, there's also a battle between good hair and bad hair. Like you said it yourself, you said you don't think your hair is pretty, which please don't ever say that again, right? Your hair is
Okay.
beautiful, I'm sure, right? And
Okay.
it's good hair, bad hair, right? And good hair is
Mm-hmm.
usually synonymous with what is looser, what is closer to what has a white proximity. So all of
Mm-hmm.
those things are deeply ingrained in us culturally through generation, through generation, through generation. Like I
Mm-hmm.
don't, as an American, I can only speak through the American lens because that's what I am. But
Yeah.
like our parents, like they straighten our hairs. Like my mom, my grandma would straighten my hair with a hot comb. On Sundays when you go to church for Easter, whenever you do like a fancy event, like you have to straighten your hair, right? Like whenever
Mm-hmm.
you go to a job, okay, make sure you don't have like one little hair out of place. One curl cannot appear. So
True.
it's
Mm-hmm.
just sort of taking that, and it's just like, but why? Like again, like questioning that status quo. Why is
Mm-hmm.
that? It's sort of like anything that how society has conditioned us to where anything that is in proximity of Blackness or Africanness is
Mm-hmm.
bad, right? So curly hair, kinky hair, locked hair, bad, straight hair, wavy hair, good, right? And it really shouldn't be that way because we're all different and we should embrace our differences.
Mm-hmm. Oh, wow, this is very insightful. So, of course, we know on the 25th of May, 1963, that is basically when African leaders convened a summit meeting to found the Organization of Africa Unity, or AU. And today is the 25th of May, 2022, which marks it exactly 59 years, yeah, of our liberation. So, do you think this Liberation Day has put some countries together, or do you think has it been impactful in the countries that actually honor and celebrate this day in any way, socially, economically, or politically? Yeah.
Well, I celebrated my first African Liberation Day in Ghana some years ago, and that was my first trip to Ghana. And
Mhm.
um, I did see small celebrations of people. I do still think that, and this is from an outsider sort of looking in, that there's conflict between different tribes. Just like there's conflict between different races and different countries. So I think that maybe for the day we say, okay, like African Liberation Day, then tomorrow we go back to whatever our bias was against that tribe or our bias was against that race. That's something that we still need to kind of do the self work and look into ourselves and find ways that we can all you know, anyone who is a part of the African diaspora can find ways to connect with each other and
Mhm.
really liberate ourselves through unity, like continental Africans, African Americans, Caribbeans, European, wherever we can kind of
Mhm.
unite more.
Okay, that's wonderful. Uh, can you remember some of the struggles we had as Africans before liberation, just like two or three, and the changes that occurred after we were liberated? Yeah.
So prior, and this is outside looking in, um, I can only speak from a socialization lens, and I
Mm-hmm.
would say the remnants of colonialism.
Okay.
Um, and that can be a religion, that can
Mm-hmm.
be the way that we style our hair, that can be that the way that we view people of a different tribe, of a different background. And
Mm-hmm.
just through those social constructs prior to African Liberation Day were there, and after African Liberation Day, they're still there. But I
Mm-hmm.
do think that as more and more people are learning and unlearning the socialization that we've been socialized, right? Um, we can make more progress, but we have to kind of do the work and look within ourselves and unlearn those social norms, no matter what continent that we live in.
Okay. So what I'm getting from that is, as much as we have the liberation, we still have a lot of input we need to do as Africans to still liberate ourselves from some stuff. Yeah. It's like we are still, engrossed in some of these norms and societal standards and just being in this space where we still cannot stand up for ourselves. Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
Mhm. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Back to your hair. There's something I mentioned, but I think I mentioned a lot of things at once, so that one might have passed. Since you started the My Natural Hair, My Liberation, do you have like a certain group of mentors who you've gone through this journey with, or certain people who you've actually brought them forth into this your campaign, or certain people who are actually in the journey with you who actually, you have the same, how do I say this, goal or vision. You have the same vision. Yeah.
So I wouldn't say I have any certain people that I go through the journey with um, distinctly.
Mhm.
However, when I'm out and about or when I meet women who are going through that journey or who knows what it's like, it's always a warm experience to kind of exchange experiences. Um, and what I will say, and again, speaking through like an American lens, um,
Mhm.
because natural hair isn't super accepted,
Mhm.
anytime I've ever worked somewhere, there's only a matter of time before another Black woman comes up to me and says, I love your hair. Like, they let you wear your hair like that, like it's like they're surprised that I got the job, like, even though I have natural hair. So I think just sort of like I've been someone who has shown people that you can still be employable with natural hair, shown people that you still can be in, certain places in life with different, mingle with different people with natural hair. Natural hair is professional, right? And I think with me, just sort of living in my truth and liberating myself and walking what I talk, I'm able to uplift other women who want to go natural, but they're hesitant. They're afraid of the stigma. They're afraid of the barriers. They're afraid of what people are going to think. And I think just having those conversations and also just telling my story and being open with, yeah, like I got this job, like it's cool. And that kind of warms other people up as well to take their journey or go further with it.
Okay. I'm trying to read some of our comments online, and I can see one is raising concerns on the dreadlocks. He just tweeted me to my personal Twitter handle, and she's concerned. She's like, "Well, I have my dreadlocks, but sometimes I get turned down in offices because of my hair." And I'm just thinking, do you think this is right? Because I feel like it's my hair. I choose to wear it in a natural way, but it doesn't really have to define me as a person or my capability of what I can actually do, to the organization or to the company. So she wants to hear your view on that.
Yeah, 100%. And I completely agree what you just said. It doesn't define your
Mhm,
ability. Um,
mhm,
so I can't say how many opportunities I've missed out on for having dreadlocks because I'll never
mhm,
know. Like, they're not going to directly tell me we're not going to hire you because you have dreadlocks, right? They'll find some other
mhm.
excuse. But
Yes.
the places that reject you because of your hair, that's not a place that you want to be anyway, right? You can think about your mental health and are you going to be included and how are you going to feel when you're trying to do your work and you're getting a little side eye or getting smart comments about your hair. So if a place, an organization doesn't want you because of your hair, that's really not somewhere that you want to work to begin with. Um,
Mhm,
and then I would say beyond that is to, and this isn't fair, but it is life, that
mhm,
because I have dreadlocks, I when I do go on interviews or when I do am in professional settings, I
mhm,
dress more professionally, right? And that's my
mhm,
assimilation, right? Like I do a little
mhm.
more. Um, I make sure I have all the more than the qualifications, right? Like twice as hard is what we say over here. Um, but I also speak from a place of privilege because I'm a writer. So I either a client's going to work with me or they're not going to. So I think just sort of showing up as yourself when you're at the interview and do a little research, right? Like look at, I'm not sure where you're located, but if the company has a LinkedIn, look at the people who work there and see if the culture is going to be a good fit for you.
Mhm.
And know that when you do go to job interviews, it's not just them interviewing you, you're also interviewing that company and making sure that it's a place that you want to work. So if they don't want you for your natural hair, it's probably not a good culture for you to be in anyway.
Oh wow, these are very powerful insights. I also especially like the fact that you get to dress more professionally. It just makes you stand out. Anyway, if you're just joining us, remember this is the 59th African Liberation Day. And of course, we have our gorgeous guest in studio who especially stands out. Her natural hair, her liberation. This is simply her motto. And we have been engaging with her for the past almost 20 minutes now. It is a pleasure. It is an honor. And I'll give you the chance for you to say any insights you would love to. Yeah.
Yes, so thank you for having me. And I want to say anyone who's interested in a natural hair journey, or if you just have questions, you can contact me on LinkedIn. It's Rhodesia Cooper. Um, and if you're thinking of going on your natural hair journey, do your research, make sure you're getting the right products for your hair, and join forums, like connect with people who have been through the experience. Um, and just be ready for the best experience, the most liberating experience of your life. Thank you.
Wow, this is powerful. Final question. When you started your journey, you were very young. I believe you were in your late teenage. You were 19. Yeah.
Yes.
Do you feel any pressure? Because I feel like in the late teenage years, that's when we want to explore our beauty, blah, blah, blah. And in societally, beauty is straightened hair, blah, blah, blah. But now here you are, 19-year-old, very bold, and you've decided I'm taking this journey. Didn't you, didn't you backslide? Let me use that word. Didn't you like conform to the society?
I did from between the ages of 14 to 18 or 19. I did conform. I did straighten my hair. I wanted to meet the goalposts of those beauty standards. I did want to be accepted, like we all do, right?
Mhm,
However, the burden that I had of knowing that I was going to have to go the rest of my life assimilating, and there wouldn't be a time of my life where I could just exist as I am,
mhm.
outweighed the need for acceptance. So when I did do that, my quest for that was to shave my hair, right? And I haven't looked back since. And since then, that was 19 years old. I shaved my hair off, um, graduated high school. I was loose natural for about 6 years. And then now I've been locked for 6 years. So for me, it's just wanting that freedom. It feels better than wanting to be accepted.
Mm, interesting. Ha. So now, how about you pose a question to our audience or to me? Or yeah, you're free to.
Yeah, so I would say here in the US, the natural hair movement sort of started in the 2009,
Mm,
after the release of Chris Rock's Good Hair documentary. Is there a natural hair movement in Kenya? And like how has that sort of changed like throughout the time?
mm. Yes, there is a natural hair movement in Kenya, actually very big on Instagram, and I believe the CEO is one Michelle Ntalami. So I feel like very, very many young women have actually gone to the natural hair journey because the hair grows fuller, healthier, and you're just able to feel more confident and more African in it. So it's really a big deal. It has really grown. I have seen her grow from 10 followers to over 100,000 followers. I have seen her products grow from being so locally to being shipped internationally. Yeah, her being engaged in international platforms just to talk about the natural hair and motivate women. And so I feel like this is actually liberation for the African woman, and it's amazing. So yes.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Thank you for
Okay.
having me. Um, it's glad to speak with you.
But I would still hope you would still be with us till the end of the show. We would still like to engage you as we proceed further. Thank you, Madam Cooper. And of course, we have Prof. Prof has just joined us. Prof. Mamu, welcome, sir. I would give you this opportunity to introduce yourself.
Um, am I okay? Am I in?
Yes, you were, sir.
Yes, yes. Uh, I'm a Pan Africanist. I have been Pan Africanist nearly all my life, but
Okay.
I have been arguing for um, African unity. But also,
Mhm,
when I was in the United States, when I was a student, we used to
mhm,
have a student organization for Black unity, and I used to go all over Southern America,
mhm,
like Mississippi, Tennessee, Alabama, and all the Black colleges. And also in the media, I were trying to uh, support African Americans to get
mhm,
out of the white racism um, that they have been suffering from. So basically I mean I mean my I can't tell you everything. There's so many things I've done. So, but I've been all over the world, and but also since I was a young, with my first year in university
mhm.
in New York, in Columbia University, we celebrated Africa Liberation Day,
Okay.
and we also celebrated Africa Victory Day. We call it the Adwa Victory on March 2 every year. So we've been celebrating this together. Adwa Victory is seen as an African victory. The Europeans said that it's not just a defeat of Italy; it's also a defeat to us. It gave the lesson to the rest of Africans that if we do similar kind of fights against them, they will fight us back. So it gave them that lesson, they said. So we had that kind of thing. So I introduced myself enough now. Should I go to the lecture?
Yes, absolutely. But quick one, sir. We have a request from our audience. Could you please turn your camera on, please?
I beg your pardon?
If you could please put your camera on, our audience would like to see you.
My camera on. Where is the camera? Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Is it? Where does it say? It says
Um,
mute. Start camera. Is that it?
that one. It's on. It's on
Okay.
now, sir.
Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Sorry. My hair is too much.
It, it's okay.
Yes. So is it possible to do a PowerPoint? I don't know how to share it. Let me just see. Yeah.
Don't
Can I
worry.
do
If
that?
it stresses you, you can just do a presentation without sharing it. It's okay.
Okay. Okay. All right. Then I can do it. Let me see if I can share it also. Let me just try. The
Okay.
sharing side is where, let me just see. I saw something saying sharing. Yeah. Let me just
Yeah.
see if it works. It says share.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Can I go?
Yeah.
Say,
Yes.
share, slides.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
And you have no slides. Okay. So the slides, I put them here. So will it come? Did it come? It didn't come.
Not yet, sir. Yeah.
Okay. Share. Let me just see. Share. Uh, sh- okay. Share screen. All right. How does it do it? I don't know. Share, leave video. Okay. Okay. Wait. Says share screen.
Yes, share screen. Yes.
Okay. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Will my okay? All right. Let me try. Okay. Okay. Uh, let me see now. Will it come now? Did it come?
Mm, not yet.
Not yet. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
I think there's something. Anyway, let me just then give you a lecture. It's okay.
It's okay.
I am trying to speak about why we should not delay anymore the African unity. So I will start with the inspiration, and I will also say why we should not ignore Ubuntu to bring change,
Mm-hmm.
and why we need to apply Ubuntu to deal with the challenges uh, confronting Africa, and also how we can change the African education system,
Mm-hmm.
and how we can also change the African education curriculum, and how we can also change the development culture,
Mm-hmm.
right? And
Yeah.
some new modules we can develop with Ubuntu, and some module
Mm-hmm.
examples, and I'll give you some concluding remarks. So let's discuss them. What inspiration? When you have Ubuntu, you embrace others. You are generous. You are compassionate. If the
Mm-hmm.
world had more Ubuntu, we would not have war. We would not have this huge gap between the rich and the poor. You are rich so that you can make up what is lacking for others. You are powerful so that you can help the weak, just as a mother or
Mm-hmm.
father helps their children. That is Ubuntu. That is a philosophy that originated from Africa. What didn't originate from Africa? Maths embodied foundational values of love, life, creativity, and awareness that work to inhibit or isolate isfet, life's entropic tendencies, by an inner
Mm-hmm.
matrix of virtues, order, balance, harmony, compassion, reciprocity, justice, and truth. Math cannot easily translate into European language. It is African origin, and it's amazing. African universal values of math, Ubuntu, and others make Africans associational, not individual. We have Ethiopianism, Pan Africanism, and the African Renaissance. They are have powerful values, principles, and ideas to bring faster the unity of Africa. But everyone in Africa, from elementary to tertiary, must learn and make mindset shift from division to the unity of all Africans living as one human family. That's what we need Ubuntu for. Julius
Mm-hmm.
Caesar exclaimed, Ex Africa semper aliquid novi. Out of Africa always comes something new. Let the current new from Africa be to practice Ubuntu that has been created as the best philosophy, a lifesaver philosophy, not just for all of Africa, but the whole world, to make Africa become free from all the conflicts, wars, religious, ethnic, gender, all other divisions, to bring social justice, social solidarity, and human rights for all. By freeing people, achieving zero poverty, zero unemployment, and very much, really, no need to have very rich people and then many poor people. That kind of
Mhm.
inequality must also not be. It doesn't go well with our values, with our philosophy, and with our thinking, and with our Africanness. Our African identity is extraordinary. We apply Ubuntu to deal with the four challenges confronting Africa currently: the problem of unending poverty, inequality. We have the richest resources, but we have the poorest people, a large number of people. We have very many young people, but our young people, instead of becoming change makers and game changers, their SIM card, their hard disk, their software is full of, again, colonial virus. Lovely to hear our sister talking about the hair thing and what challenges you face for not changing your hair, all right, from your naturalness to something else.
Mhm.
This is extraordinary. We need to value ourselves. We are, however we are beautiful for us. We should value it. We should have pride. We should recognize ourselves, and we should not say that if someone's color is something and his hair is something else, then they are
Mhm.
this and that. We should not judge them based on that. That's not true. A dog may be white or black or any other color, but still a dog. A human being also, whatever color, whatever uh, facial and other expressions they have, they must
Mhm.
have, they are human. So inequality and unemployment has not been replaced with additive and multiplicative well-being for all our people in Africa. The world is going also now through demographic explosion and climate change, with informal and agriculture economy remaining still largely where the majority of the people live. The fourth challenge is now the global COVID-19 pandemic that has created problems that still remain unresolved. We're now also entering into what is being described as a surveillance capitalism, which is connected to the digital age of the fourth industrial revolution. We are having big problem, cybercrime,
Mhm.
many strange things. Mass social media, awash with all these things. Our youth, our children may be also misdirected, and this is
Mhm.
extraordinary also because the kind of images that they see is not something that's very worthy. And this is also
Yeah.
affecting our people. Ubuntu to
Mhm.
change the African education system, to create an African unity for Renaissance project identity is essential. To promote smart growth based on unified knowledge, learning, and innovation is necessary. Inclusive growth that combines the knowledge of the community with the knowledge from the academy and the business sector and the government and all the community areas, all the stakeholders is necessary. Sustainable
Mhm.
growth that utilizes natural resources by combining the human, natural, and spiritual worlds with moral intelligence is very important. We need an African Union Education Commission must be established to create the African free education system with Ubuntu
Mhm.
including indigenous knowledge. We need to decolonize even the education system. In fact, in about 7 years ago, with my friends, I sent a concept note for the African Union to create the Pan African Union Education Commission, but they have not responded to us. Changing the African education curriculum with Ubuntu. Ubuntu from kindergarten to research university must be included. Our children, the first educators are their parents. If whenever you, all of you, become mothers and you have children, when you have something like that, you must always, I'm sincerely telling you, you must not, you must always do all you can to make sure that the education of the children is number one. They are the number
Mhm.
one. Once they are born, the parents must be united to make sure that their children grow better. That is first education before going to kindergarten, then going to elementary school, secondary school, university, colleges, and things like that. So Ubuntu
Mhm.
continuously from primary, secondary, higher education, and beyond in people's work lives in Africa is critical. Expanding education to the community and society is important. Expanding education to all kinds of sectors is important. Every African to become all-time learner and creator, innovator, inventor, entrepreneur with the knowledge, learning, innovation, competence building system throughout one's life. It's a
Mhm.
lifelong pattern that we need to. Education is not something we just do and leave. No, we're always in education. We're always learners. Even if I'm a professor, I'm a student too. I tell my students, be my teachers. I want to learn something new from you.
Mhm.
Don't just repeat what I tell you. Also tell me what you create, what you invent, what you innovate. What you see, this kind of thing is what we need to suggest. Education curriculum modules of Ubuntu. We need to develop or identify common core educational curricula for kindergarten
Mhm.
level, elementary school level, high school level, college and universities, where we include the great values like the in Ubuntu philosophy, all right, environmental philosophy, many of the things that have been created in Africa, even the sciences. On the science side, we have Imhotep, the genius of geniuses, the Einstein of Einstein. What didn't he create? Everything, medicine, agriculture, architecture, mathematics, everything. In all fields, our people have been amazing. They have created so many things. We harmonize and monitor the implementation of common core curriculum across member state education institutes in all schools to tertiary university. We develop and monitor the implementation of Mama Africa curriculum in all member states in all schools. We need to create new curriculum. All right, Mother Africa, very, very important. How our ancestors lived peacefully before colonialism, how Africans dealt with colonialism and survived, the birth of Pan Africans, how Africans live now in the post colonial period. The African unity delay resolution must be resolved with Ubuntu uh, to create our future. Create accreditation standard. Even the standardizing qualification, accreditation of African higher education institute. Do not we should not outsource it. Everything we outsource, others decide for us. You see, this is not good. We should also not ask
Mhm.
money for them like they do the African Union. Most of the money comes from Europe. Then what do you do? Are we really having the African Union? It's very, very complicated. Develop an all Africa-wide African focused curriculum on African history, economy, indigenous knowledge, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, and culture. Create awareness on principles of African Union, Pan-African. Create self-confident, responsible, accountable generation for Africa to stop talking unity, promoting conflict, division, and corruption. Adding Ubuntu value in the ongoing process. Enlighten African young generation with the latest development in scientific research in different areas and of the political, cultural, socio-economic, ecological change that are ongoing in Africa. That is a rich, really wonderful continent with solar energies that can give electricity not just to all of Africa, the whole of Europe and others. So we have very, very good things. We also need to anchor the development culture in a new way. We need to educate African children of the new challenges faced by Africa, including questions of African unity, Pan Africanism, regional integration, education and cultural challenges, youth unemployment, gender issues, health, cultural diversity, creativity, arts, culture, all right, just what she said about our on the hair side, our sister said, which is amazing. Culture and development, intercultural dialogue within Africa, peace and environment, climate change, urbanization, scientific research and innovation, healthcare, sustainable development, good governance, South inter-African cooperation, relationship with also with the African diaspora, including indigenous knowledge, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, education to be included across the entire Africana world. That's what we need to do. We need the new Pan African Education Commission. Let's all petition. I really like us on this day today, on Africa Day, Africa Liberation Day, all right, Africa Freedom
Mhm.
Day. Let us all petition what we suggested to them by sending a concept note to the Africa Union to found the what we call the Pan African Education Commission. All right, approve.
Yes.
It must be approved by the Africa Union to work in line with the AU, the African Union Social Policy Framework, and in partnership with
Mhm.
African nations, education ministries, academic
Mhm.
institutes across Africa to strengthen, develop continent-wide core curriculum and accreditation parameters for all African youth to actually be completely united and also
Mhm.
understand the knowledge heritage, the spiritual heritage, all right, the philosophy of the saver
Mhm.
heritage, the lifesaver Ubuntu and others. By working with the experts throughout Africa, the Pan-African Education Commission can pool Africa's subject matter expertise in education to develop Mama Africa curriculum and set up parameters to accredit African professionals by Africa Union for Good without external interferences. So we need a new curriculum structure with Ubuntu, and I have done the structure. I'll send it to you with thing. And then we need a new hybrid synthesis with Ubuntu. Even African development has to be anchored with Ubuntu values. There is a need now to build new synergy between development and innovation system. Economic gain to make profit is not sufficient. There must be social well-being gain, environmental protection gain, health gain, education gain must be included. The validation criteria for doing something good is not just market and commerce and all right and profit and money. No, it must be some new things that are have come on the well-being side, on the environmental protection side, on the health side, on the education side, on all every sphere. This imagination, this knowledge imagination must be really something that can drive us. We need to synergize informal and with formal economy, indigenous with modern all knowledge, and not merely prioritize the economic variable by excluding the social and environmental gains to undertake both innovation development. We need to create unity of knowledge. The development and innovation theories have evolved mainly dominated by economics. There's a need to generate problem-based knowledge creation. By applying all the disciplines using the unity of knowledge, we need a unified conceptual framing and theories linking innovation system with tangible and measurable developmental comprehensive health, human and nature safety. We need also a new ontology, epistemology, axiology of innovation, with development need transformation by rethinking them to address the challenge the world is going through. We have now digital gangsters and cybercrime and social media awash with unregulated explosion of all kinds of morally, emotionally non-intelligent information. There's a need for transformative innovation that can contribute a well-being anchored development of both humans and nature in Africa. We let Africa move from the physical world to the digital world and enter into the knowledge economy with a smart, integrated, green, innovative Africa. Let Africans also try to develop sovereign wealth fund to make the people own the rich African wealth that still continues to be exploited by those who are not Africans, except those who collaborate with the external explorers of Africa. We need to depend on not we need not depend on loans, aid, and debt. Better to undertake all transformation and production by engaging all the people to actually be engaged and help build it themselves. We have rich resources. The DRC Congo has resources estimated to 24 trillion. That's the combined gross national product of all of Europe and America. Why do we have to beg anyone? No, we need our people to be really be agencies for changing everything. So we also need how to apply transformative innovation development in the African context. I hope we can read our book, the book produced on putting Africa first, the making of African innovation in 2003. It highlighted the critique of the current development promoted by national and international organizations. We said no imitation of national innovation for Africa. There must be an African one. No imitation of development economics. No for Africa. There must be an African context, the new model that synthesizes innovations and African integrated sustainable development innovation system. So there is a need to undertake a rethinking and reinvention of innovation and development from the current pattern to the transformative new synthesis by taking the challenge Africa faces to discover how the problems could be resolved by creating innovative and developed well-being anchored Africa to serve above all the people and nature together. So we need to reimagine Africa as Ubuntu, embedding a total invention, innovation, learning culture, transforming Africa through knowledge, learning, innovation, competence building system, establishing a Pan-African innovation system by learning and building from the past inventions, innovation, and indigenous knowledge, using the rich values of Africa, Ubuntu and Mat, to use Africa context, indigenous innovation without transgressing social and ecological health. Unite Africa now. Africa should have one president, 4 prime ministers, and 54 governors. The president should be rotating among the 5 regional governments of East Africa, West Africa, Southern Africa, Central Africa, and Northern Africa. Africa unite now. The people of every country should elect a governor. Governors elect prime minister of the region, and prime ministers elect united African president. We should have one currency that's backed with gold because we got it in plenty in order to have a strong reserve bank. We don't need the World Bank. We don't need the IMF. African universities, not just universities in Africa. We need to really bring in indigenous knowledge. We have a new knowledge imagination to actually make sure that the education system is actually revamped completely, rearranged, and that's why we need the African Education Commission to make sure that we actually do it, and we can do it. A lot of us are very, very interested in this, and we can develop courses. We can actually we have some of us have actually started courses. Well, Mama Africa course 101, 102, 103, 104. We have actually tried to develop what modules we can do, and we can also do it on the Ubuntu side, the philosophy side, to make sure that children from early time grow up learning how to. They know they are You are me, I'm them kind of thing. This kind of thing is so important that they do that. So that's what we need to do. And I think it's very, very, no more delay to African unity. We have ancient scripts like ancient Greece, recognized better than the Roman and Latin script. Our language must use their own script. There's more to do. We have our own calendar. What don't we have? There's more to do. We have our own philosophy or our astronomy, in many, many things, and our own mathematics, our own science. But we can make it easier to unite and make Africa to own its rich resources. We need leaders that do not steal and lie, free from all kinds of corruptions, cowardice, and tyranny. Leadership curse must be changed into leadership blessing. That can only be done if we have people who are ready to serve the people above all else, not their own pocket. All right, those who hate their pocket but who love the people is what we need. So we need to change ourselves. Let's do the unity by appreciating difference. Learn to find the unity pathways by teaching each other with Ubuntu how to share. And it is true with Africa unity, we can make each other how to care by prioritizing Africa and all African people above all, more than oneself or another. All Africans put our beloved Africa first. To acknowledge to put Africa first is to put humanity first. The world is still divided by implicit or explicit classifications of inferiority and superiority. Africans have not yet fully removed coloniality. They need Africanity. They still prefer to look and affirm each other by mimicking externality, all right, including their hair, their clothes, everything. So Africans must treat one another as one human family. We must practice Ubuntu truly, as you are me and me is you really, as no African is a stranger to another African. We're all one family. Not call some Africans as relatives, others as aliens. Africaphilia, Africa love must replace all the divisive fonts, Anglophone, Lusophone, Francophone, Levant, all these fonts that turn the African one family as strangers to each other. And this is a foreign and external also intrusion. Let's learn how to care and share with full collaboration and trust, knowing how to agree even when we disagree without any conflict and fight. Apply the relativity of African unity by removing ever the gravity burden of disunity and conflict in Africa forever. Unity is essential, never again for Africa to fall behind. Africa uniting is colonial divide and rule ending, and truly humanity as a whole and everyone benefiting. With Ubuntu, all Africans coming together, showing the necessity to recognize full equality, to build with the cherished philosophy of Ubuntu, one in all and all in one, all Africans as one family, one humanity. Let us all choose with Ubuntu the pathway to create, invent, innovate, and value the health as wealth for people above all else. I really appreciate my brother Daniel for his the hard work he does, and we need to support him. It's very, very good. And all of you, I really appreciate you for all of you, for the presenters today, and all of my the lovely sisters, all of you, for doing this important work you did. And I really appreciate you very much, and love you all. Thank you, Asante Sana, and thanks a lot. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, sir. It was a pleasure having you to the show and great insights and great presentation. Ubuntu,
Yeah,
this is
yeah,
indeed in
yeah.
us. And of course, now we have our final guest, Mr. Benjamin Anyagre.
Natasha,
Remember, Mr. Benjamin Anyagre is the immediate past executive director of Kwame Nkrumah Ideological Institute and, of course, author of the yet to be released Africa's Own Golden Democracy and Ubuntu African Nation State Constitution, which is the Africa Manifesto. So, of course, thank you very much, Prof. It was a pleasure having you
thank you.
today. And, of course, we look forward to having more and more engagements with you. Kwaheri. Kwaheri is bye in Swahili.
Yes, you're lovely. Thank you.
Thank you. So, if you're
Yes.
just joining the show, remember this is the 59th Africa Liberation Day. Of course, Africa Liberation Day was started by Kwame Nkrumah of Ghana. And of course, this marks the 59th year because it was initiated the 25th of May 1963. And as we all know, this is the 25th of May 2022. He convened the first conference of independent African states that attracted African leaders and political activists from various African countries in Ghana on the 15th of April 1950. 1958. Of course, you might be asking, what is the African Liberation Day about? Remember, it has been a journey for Africa to literally gain their independence and their liberation, you know. And once this happened, it has been a journey and a celebration because Africa was able to stand on its own and feel free and enjoy the freedom. I am informed by my producer of the show that our final guest, Mr. Benjamin, um, is not online. So apologies for that. I hope next time he will be able to join us. Remember, I was hosting this show with my co-host Mary, but she was having network issues. But I think her network might be resolved now. So probably Mary, since you're watching the show, if you could just say a few words to our guest before I end our show for today. Karibu, Mary.
Thank you. Thank you so much. I'm sorry for the network glitches that has been there since the start of the show. But I hope I can just maybe say a few things about African liberation. As I was saying before the show, uh, when the show started, African liberation basically is commemorated every 25th May of every year since 1963, being the very first year for the African liberation commemoration. So, of course, we keep on celebrating the African liberation. And I know you gave a very detailed explanation of what the African liberation is all about when the show was starting. So, maybe just to add on that, of course, we see that it commemorates 25th of May commemorates the liberation of African countries and facilitates discussions key to the collective material survival, the continued independence, and the advancement of Africans. Such like discussions that we are having right now, that we've had with Miss Cooper and Professor Ahmed, and I believe such discussions are key for understanding the African liberation, what it is, the steps that have been taken so far to the liberation of Africa, and what we are doing as Africans to be wholly liberated, so maybe for those who don't know what the African liberation is all about, you can just say despite the abundance of Africa's resources in arable land, rich flora and fauna, mineral deposits, energy potential, uh, a large part of the African continent is still needing secure and the continued dependency on financial, food, education, health, and security bailouts dictates development and influences Africans' development as a whole, and Africans' foreign policy. And so these discussions that we are holding help us arise, very important questions that even as we celebrate the African Liberation Day, do we think that Africa is fully liberated? Do we think that Africa is fully liberated? And has it really reached a point where we can say that we as a people of Africa are liberated, even as we keep on celebrating the African liberation? And if it is, of course, or if it is not liberated, is it working towards its liberation? And is this liberation a long-term process or a short-term process? Because we talk about the African liberation, we talk about a lot of things. We talk about the mental liberation. There's if are we being are we liberated mentally? liberated, because I believe that
Sorry, I think my co-host Mary is having network issues again. Sincere apologies to our audience at large. I believe she will resolve it. Thank you very much, my co host, Mary. It has been a pleasure to hear your insights and, of course, joining us in the discussion. I would especially like to thank our guests. It has been a pleasure to have you here. It is an honor. And of course, we do not take it for granted that you took your time, aside from your busy schedule, to join us in celebrating the 59th African Liberation Day conference and, of course, engaging with us in your insights. I'd like to especially thank Madam Rhodesia Cooper, my hair, my crown. I believe as African women, we have learned that it is very important to embrace your natural hair, regardless of what the societal norms dictate, or regardless of what society considers beautiful. Yeah, it enables you to stand out, it boosts your confidence, and of course, you're able to identify as an African, regardless of what people think. And it is very important to live above societal norms, and it is very important not to conform to assimilation. Of course, thank you very much, Prof. Mamo. African unity now. There is nothing that is going to stand in the way of African unity, whether innovative knowledge, imagination, that is not going to stand in our way. And of course, Ubuntu power. We are going to embrace Ubuntu power, and together we will move. I can see Madam Rhodesia Cooper completely agree with Prof. There's too much colonialism in school curriculum. It needs to be changed. There's so much, Prof. Really addressed, especially in us having curriculum that is for the kindergarten, for certain age groups, something that can align with us as Africans. And I think that is very important to know. Thank you very much, Madam Cooper, for your sentiments. Thank you, our audience, for your communication. Let me just read this quickly. Anything African, anything that has significance in the lives of African people, any dreams that we will have never come true if we do not address them real threats to freedom and economic development, which is our leadership. We have to attain equality first in all circles. How can other races respect us or put any value on our lives when you treat each other like dogs back home? Our leaders have to put their heads together and address what is happening in South Africa. What is happening in South Africa? This okay, this is sorry, I didn't quite get your name. Your comment passed. I didn't quite get your name, but your comment is addressed. Okay, I think basically our leaders need to step up. This is an issue addressed to us in South Africa, our fellow brothers and sisters in South Africa. I'm not quite sure what's going on in South Africa at the moment, but I hope all is well. And if there's any hitch, this is to our leaders in South Africa. There is a concern from your citizens. I believe that will be addressed. Africa together. Africa as power. Sorry, we have one more comment. We as Black people are too soft. We always want peace. Peace should reign when we free ourselves from colonialism. I believe this is a journey that we started 59 years down the line, and of course, we improve every single day. We will break free. It is all a matter of input from you and I, and together we will do this. Thank you very much, our audience, for your tweets, for your comments. I am sorry I'm not able to address all because of time, but of course, your comments have been forwarded and were received. Like I said, thank you to our guests. Thank you to our boss, the president of the United States of Africa Foundation, Mr. Daniel Mwambunu. Thank you for the opportunity. Thank you for the amazing job and the impact you're doing, not only in Kenya, not only in East Africa, but of course in Africa at large. And of course, special thanks to Mary Anyango. Apologies for our network issues. Um, it is sad, but it is normal. It would happen to any of us. And thank you for your sentiments, Madam Mary. I have been your host, Mary Odawa. It has been I have been your host, Mo Odawa. Apologies. I'm still thinking of my co host, Mary. It has been a pleasure to host the 59th African Liberation Day Conference. See you next time. Hopefully, same day, probably another year, same time. Have a beautiful evening. Goodbye.